And coming up in this episode,
here's a little quiz for you. How many litres per day does a Normandy cow produce?
So with my good friend Pierre here, I will try to tell you the process of caramel making.
So every needle undergoes 27 precise stages. Also there's a connection to another well-known name, Murano glass.
Well, this is a typical Getaway Geese day that starts with the usual spectacle of using air services for emptying the black and grey waste. Harry has a 40 litre grey tank that lasts us some time, to be honest. Next stop, a quick top up on provisions, which Jane generally does, to be honest.
Good morning. So we've just woken up at Insigny-sur-Mer. I think that's how you pronounce it. Apologies if not. We stayed in the air overnight. It was quite good, actually. A lot of vans there. There's two airs. It looks like there's an old air and they've expanded and created another air. But you can also park on the front and around the area. If you're right on the front, I think you've got to be out of the car parking space by 10 a.m. So just be aware of that. So that's where we parked. So we're up and out this morning. We're just going to go off to the caramel factory on the other side of the town. So there's a barrier height restriction when you go into the factory, so if you can't get under that, if you go 50 metres past on the right, there's actually an overflow car park for motorhomes and that.
Entrance is a very modest €4 per adult, and you'll probably spend about 20 to 30 minutes there.
So that was a nice little start. They offered us a soft caramel or a hard toffee. We both went with the soft. There's an English booklet they hand to your tour guide, or you can actually download off the internet a guide as well. You can film in this area, just not in the workshop areas. I wonder whether the damselfly was on my windscreen yesterday at the first parking. So it's a cooperative that owns the Insigny-sur-Mer brand by the looks of it. They actually collect 268 million litres of milk from about 400 farms in the area. So that's cheese, butter, cream, infant milk and various specialty products they produce. So it was founded in 1909, the cooperative. I can see some cheese being bought for lunch. So these are the Normandy cows we saw yesterday. Here's a little quiz for you. How many litres per day does a Normandy cow produce? 20 litres. So what's really good here is that the guidebook in English mirrors exactly the boards, so it's so easy to go round. And it goes through all the history and obviously the production of the cream and all the products they do. Really informative. So they produce 3 families of cheese. There's the hard cheese that's been sort of pressed and cooked. There's then the soft cheeses like Camembert and speciality cheeses they do. And then there's the uncooked things like Frnce. That's about a 20-minute tour, but it was really fascinating actually, because you get there's 3 windows. Unfortunately you can't film it, and it just shows them making the caramel, the various caramels and that. It's just so great watching them, how they manipulate the huge amount of caramel in one place. So if you get a chance, it's only a few euros to get in.
So with my good friend Pierre here, I will try to tell you the process of caramel making. From the viewing galleries you can see the production process below, which is essentially in 3 phases. One of the main facts is that all the ingredients are sourced locally, making this a truly French product, including butter, milk, salt, glucose sugar, to name but a few. First, all the ingredients are measured and added to a large copper cooker that bake the caramel up to around about 125 degrees centigrade. The rich colour is actually a natural colour that it turns into during the cooking process. The next phase is to pour the caramel out in batches and then pour them onto large stainless steel tables to cool down in large sheets. These are then cut into smaller slabs. They are then folded up into rough balls, and they are then regularly folded to get an even cooling, as temperature is the key here. At the right time they are loaded into the rolling machines that have been in place since the 1950s. The caramel is then rolled out and cut into bite-sized chunks. The machine wraps them, and I'm sure a bit of quality checking is done along the way by Pierre, and I have to say that is the job I would apply for in the factory. Of course, the best bit is selling them on to those that love the taste of the caramel. It's great to see this long industrial tradition of food making continue to be a success. Thanks, Pierre.
And there's a shop here, so we're going to see that. I suspect they'll be quite expensive. We're going to go and buy a treat ourselves probably anyway. So that's our little shopping expedition. We've got some caramel, 2 little butters to try they make, some sliced hard cheese, some brie that they manufacture, and I don't think they make that, but anyway.
Time to start heading towards the Loire Valley, so we've decided to take 2 nights to get there, and as ever we'll see what we can find along the way. The first park up is an area at Frnce.
So I've just come out to a little air in a little village. It looks really nice by the river. It's a nice lovely bridge. It's going to be for tonight, maybe another night. We'll see how we feel. I have no idea what's going on. Nice tranquil French village and the circus has come to town. Oh, there he is. There's the truck.
Le cirque Zavata présente sa représentation à ne pas manquer. Les clowns, les artistes, les acrobates et contorsionnistes.
Acrobats.
And like many places we stumble across, there's some history and stories to be told.
The Americans liberated the village that we're at, which is, get this right, Frnce. The village is on the road to Saint-Lô, and it's got a stone bridge over the river Vire, V-I-R-E. It was a vital crossing point. The Germans defenders had fortified the far bank with machine guns and artillery to block the advance. Upon heavy fire, the US troops pushed forward, wading through the river and moving across the damaged bridge that was caught up in the barrage. Their success opened the way inland, but fierce resistance continued for weeks as the Allies fought to break out of the Bocage country of Normandy. So it was quite critical crossing again as they pushed from the beaches, really.
I guess here's a bit of a metaphor for our pace of van life travel. With the snail hopefully now disembarked from Harry, it's time to move on.
We've been living in sin so long, all the fields are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day, I'm right. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your time.
We've just driven across from where we were parked yesterday, and we're at a needle making factory that's sort of halfway between here and the Loire Valley when we're going to start. So we've just stopped off, and I think we can park here for the night, to be honest. And we thought it was actually going to rain today, but we've had a really great journey coming over. Lovely just driving in the sun, but also the roads were just fantastic. Not much on the roads. Went up to Caen first, but once we got off those main motorways and dual carriageways, it was really pleasant driving across the countryside. But it's so deserted. I wonder where people are in France. Get through villages and you hardly see anybody. The roads are really good, we noticed as well, as another observation compared to the UK, where we seem to have potholes where you could fall into, whereas the roads here are either well surfaced or at best there's maybe a bit of breakage up at the top, but they're nothing like what we class as a pothole, put it that way. Making the most of the sun. The manufacture Bohin factory was founded in 1833 by a Benjamin Bohin. He was a bit of a visionary and began transforming the family workshop at a remarkable age of 17, after repeatedly asking to run the business since he was 11 years old. So he was obviously a bit of an entrepreneur. That's actually made of pins, that is. So we had 6 employees in around 1840, going up to 600 in 1920 in its height, and then declining back down to today with around about 40. Yeah, 40. Is that the father? No, that's Paul Bohin. Paul Bohin became president. That's Benjamin. Then
that's his son. That's
Paul.
his grandson.
Yeah. So every needle undergoes 27 precise stages in the process, which is a lot of processes for such a small thing, really.
A small film is shown by the owners to set the scene of the current state of play of the business, and you then start to follow the processing route around the operational factory. It's well documented with info boards and lots of videos showing the process, so even if they are not working on the process that day, you can see what is involved.
This factory is the last remaining manufacturer of sewing needles and pins in France, making it truly one of a kind in the country's textile history. Amazing when you think in today where you've got lots of imports coming in from Asia, I guess.
Here he is deburring the needles. We work our way through the factory, discovering each process as we go, watching either the videos or the workers.
So in the company's history, it actually nearly closed in 1997, but was actually rescued by its own sales manager at the time. It's sort of a bit of a twist that brought Bohin back from the brink and managed to keep the tradition alive.
Now this I find mesmerising, as it was a bit of magic where thousands of needles in a box are shaken, and through the wonders of motion and I guess physics, they all turn the right way round.
Also, there's a connection to another well-known name, Murano glass, as it uses the Murano glass in the glass-headed pins. So it's a bit of a quirky mix, I guess, between French craftsmanship and Venetian glass artistry.
There are various ways to present the needles and pins to the buyers, some in bulk packets for commercial businesses and others in smaller packets for direct selling to the public. This machine was fascinating as it was checking each needle to make sure it's the right way round, and I've had to slow the footage down to show that it's so fast to identify it and spin it round in the correct orientation before it goes into the packaging. The machine here is where a few needles are put into webbing before it goes to be packaged up. She's just changing the reel of webbing by the looks. That was a really interesting tour, so if you're in the area, I highly recommend that. It's just great to see needles being made, to be honest. It's very informative, well done. Each area translates obviously into English as well, so all the boards are, so it's easy to do. Obviously if you're French and you follow it, then there's an online tour guide that you can follow as well. After you go through the workshop, they have, I think, changeable exhibitions. But there's also some areas where there's history, industrial history of the local area, and how some of that was actually interconnected with the factory here supplying various things that they need, supplies, etc.
So these are all buildings in the local area along the river valley, I guess. So this room really just shows I guess all the industry that was in the local area and all the things that went on and the livelihoods, really. So a local one, there was a factory that made the paper that was used to wrap the pins up in.
But also the family itself used to be connected with many other types of industrial heritage as well, like razors and things like that we saw.
So this is the evolution of all their marketing, really, in their packaging. I think one of their big export countries is the US, actually, for the needles. The Bowen family has expanded into all sorts of industry. One of them was razor blades in the 1930s, between 1930 and 1950. Of course, in its day, phonographic needles was a key thing to play the music on.
Right, time to lie down, give me back a rest. I can only take so much walking around.
Yeah. So don't forget, if you enjoyed the episode, give me a thumbs up if you would. It really helps me and the channel and the algorithm on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, but above all, drop me a comment, because I really love to hear from you. I answer all the comments personally, and I'm also on social media, and I have a buy me a coffee link if you want to support me further. See you in the next episode.